Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more reviews, and today we're getting to another Lucio Fulci review, talking about Don't Torture a Duckling. Now, this film came out in 1972, gets a 7.1 on IMDb, and was directed by Lucio Fulci, of course. This is the Blue Underground DVD. Really, it surprised me how there's no features to this. There's just a bio on Lucio Fulci, which... it's surprising because I remember Opera, maybe I'm crazy, but I remember Opera having some features, and I have the Deep Red Blue Underground DVD, I believe that has features as well, so surprised me there's no features for that. But this film, to get into it, I guess I can say this right now just so that you guys kind of know where this review is going to go. I don't know what it is about this movie, but I just really couldn't get into this one. This is probably, and I'm not going to say this in like a negative way, like it's a bad movie. It's not a bad movie at all. It's just one of those movies where I watched it, I'll probably not watch it too many more times. It's just a movie that's kind of just, it's decent for what it is. But for me, I just didn't find too much special things in this movie, to be honest. I know I just like crushed the souls of a million horror fans out there. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I was gonna throw it out there. It's not a bad movie, but it's probably my least favorite Lucio Fulci film so far. And it's crazy because this is one of his most highest rated films. This is the one that all the critics love and praise. But for me, I love, Zombie. I love Cat in the Brain. Nobody talks about Cat in the Brain. I love that film. I love The Beyond and City of the Living Dead. I like City of the Living Dead. I wouldn't say I love City of the Living Dead. I like City of the Living Dead. Trying to think. I think that's all the movies I've seen so far. But yeah, I love those movies. I even think I would watch House by the Cemetery more than this one. And even that one I thought was just okay. And I love, crime movies and killer films, like Seven. Big fan of that movie. So it's not like I'm not into these crime movies or these mystery-type horror films. It's just, to me, this one wasn't really, I didn't get into it that much. And like I said, it's not a bad film at all. It's just, has a lot of problems for me. But I want to get into the plot real quick, which basically, it's a very basic plot. I mean, you have this, basically, I just said basically like about a million times there. But you have this small southern Italian town. There is a killer going around and murdering children, murdering young boys. And it's about the police trying to figure out who's doing this. They have their suspects. I think this one chick who does, black magic and voodoo and stuff, they think she's the killer, but she ends up not being the killer. She ends up lying about it. You have this one chick who, very weird character. You think she's involved with a drug scandal or something like that in the past, and you think maybe she's the killer. And, kids are being killed one by one. They keep finding more and more bodies to the end of the movie, to where they find who the killer really is. And I will say this. First of all, spoiler alert. Second of all, I want to say the positives before I get into the negatives. I will say this. There are some very well-directed sequences in this film. Particularly, the one that stuck out to me the most was the scene where the crazy voodoo chick, she gets set free because they realize she's not really the killer, but the town still thinks that she is. So it's the town turning their back on her being shunned away. They spit whenever she's near, and she gets basically beaten to death. And the music, the graphicness of it, the violence, the effects, it was a really powerful sequence where you realize the town got so angry at this person that they themselves became killers. And it was a great little moment. It was well directed, well shot, very emotional, impactful, and I was like, okay, this is a very well done sequence. And the scenes where the killer is chasing the kids, I thought was pretty creepy. You just hear this weird, ominous sound, and a lot of the time it's dark and raining. Okay, some decent sequences there. And the ending, which you find out the killer is this priest. I mean, I wasn't totally surprised by that. Just because you've seen this priest kind of pop up here and there, and you're like, well, I wonder if he's the killer. But I didn't know he was the killer. It still kind of surprised me. And you found out his motive. And I thought it was a very different motive. It wasn't just, oh, I'm killing people. It's, he's killing these children because they are still pure. They still have pure souls. So if he kills them, he sends them to heaven basically as a pure soul. And he's killing them for that reason. And I was like, okay, the ending, very, very well directed sequence where the priest has a little girl and he's going to drop her over this cliff, but this cop stops him and tosses the priest off the cliff. Okay, that was also pretty well done. But this is almost a 2-hour long movie. This is an hour and 45 minutes. And to me, this is where we... And I will say this too. Great music. Great music. Some well-filmed sequences. It's not like a bad movie to look at. I mean, it does have a cool idea of an atmosphere, of a desert atmosphere. But we'll get into that in more details in a second. So yeah, they tried to have a cool setting. And I do appreciate that. What else? Yeah, it's like some well-shot well-done sequences that are also well-shot and also just well-directed. Like I said, that scene where the girl gets beat to death. Very, very visceral scene. To get into the problems, though, to me, and I get it, it's the dubbing, but the dubbing is horrendous. And I want to get this out of the way because this problem could be avoided if I watch the sub version. The dubbing is just bad. And even without the dubbing, there's not really a main character to this movie. And I feel like that's the biggest problem with the movie, is that the movie just kind of wanders around. It doesn't have a focused lead. You know, you don't focus on the kid characters, you don't focus on the cops, you don't focus on these other characters. It's just boom, 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 you know, here's one scene, here's another scene, and you're following so many people in this plot that there's really no main lead characters. It's just wherever the characters are at and wherever the cameras is at. It's just like there's no leads to the film, to me at least. So that's really a big problem. So you're not really rooting for anybody. You're not really behind any of these characters. They're not interesting for me. It's a very slow movie. This is a movie that after the hour and 20-minute mark, man, not even that. After the first hour, the last 45 minutes drag. They drag hard. There is not much going on. And what is going on, I just didn't care for. A lot of sequences to me I think this is also a big problem. If you're going to make a movie in the desert atmosphere, you've got to be able to open up your world in these kind of films. Hills of Eyes did that. Wide shots, seeing the canyon, seeing the hills and the dry desert atmosphere, seeing little animals and stuff like that. Okay, you're broadening your world. Wide shots, big camera shots. Here, it's a lot of just static camera shots and like empty houses and abandoned buildings, and there's just nothing really there for me. It's a very dry, no pun intended, very dry atmosphere. And it's just, there's not a lot of just life to this atmosphere. I mean, if you're going to do a desert setting, do it like I said, Chainsaw Massacre. The shot of the van, but the blue sky in the background, or the ending shot with chainsaw dance from Leatherface, the sun right there, or just various shots of the sun and the sky, broadening out the world, opening up this landscape. I'm trying to think of some other ones. The Hills of Eyes remake even did that with that was an Alexander Aja film. But From Dusk Till Dawn too, and From Dusk Till Dawn Part 2, Texas Blood Money. They open up their world. You see a lot of wide shots here. If you're gonna have this kind of an atmosphere, and maybe it was just to make it more claustrophobic, but it really didn't feel claustrophobic to me. It felt very just dry, like nothing to the atmosphere. It's not scary. It's not particularly. There's maybe a handful of shots, like maybe two, of like, all right, here's a shot of a bridge, and you're seeing the blue skies and the atmosphere. And, okay, cool. But there's not a whole lot of that. A lot of it is just during the day, so there's no really scary atmosphere to it. The thing that really disappointed me about that was the night scenes that you do have look very creepy. It's like, it's the same problem I have with Cat in the Brain, really. It's not really a big problem, but you have these night sequences that look creepy. They're filmed very well. But there's not a whole lot of them in the film. A lot of it takes place during the day, and it just doesn't really have a great atmosphere to it. So to me, I just look at it, I'm like, and as far as the gore effects go, I get it, you can't have, like, really gory deaths for this kind of a film. And maybe they did this for a certain reason, but a lot of these effects are just dummies. Just dummies floating in the water. And maybe they did that because, well, if we make it obviously a dummy, we won't get so much heat for, the child killings in this film. Which they're not real, obviously, but they wouldn't get if we could make it look obviously fake. Maybe people wouldn't be horrified so much. But that's the thing. If you're gonna do a plot like that, don't show it. Exorcist 3. There's a scene in that movie where the Gemini killer kills somebody, but you hear the description of it, and you're just hearing the description of it is creepy and scary. You're not seeing anything. Just the image they put in your head is creepy. So I don't understand why it's just these effects are just all dummies. They look really, really fake. And I know that people love this shot right here, which in the DVD doesn't look that bad, but in the movie it's just an obvious dummy. So yeah, it could have been a great shot, but the obvious dummy, it's not even like they're just trying to hide it, maybe, make it to where you can't really see it that well. No, it's just like a really obviously fake dummy. And it takes me out of the movie. It took me out of the movie so much I almost choked there, but it took me out of the movie every time I seen these like dummies. It was just like silly to me. And again, maybe they did that just so that people didn't get so scared from it, but like at the same time it's like, well then just don't show it. Description, creepy. It would make it more scary that way. Just not really a plot that goes to a whole lot of places. It's just kind of a story that wanders around, doesn't really go anywhere. Very slow, very boring, got real slow past the first hour, and you just have some really laughable scenes in this movie. First of all, you have the ending with this priest who falls off the cliff. And this is horrible. I'm sorry. This is horrible. You have the most obvious fake dummy in the world falling down this cliff, scraping the face on the cliff. And it is one of the most fakest looking effects I've ever seen in a horror film. I'm not even lying. It looks straight up like a dummy. It took me out of that scene completely. All tension, all suspense, all that just taken out. And that's a problem. When you have obvious looking dummies, it's like it doesn't make it scary anymore because you can tell it's a dummy. And I was just like, man, that's just so disappointing. And like I said, I guess it's a giallo. I guess half these death scenes are off screen or just dummies. Which, again, I understand that's the thing. Like I said, just then don't show the deaths. Don't show the mannequins. It's just descriptions. For me, I would prefer it more if it was from the kid's point of view. And you don't really have a lot of time to know the kid characters either. They're just kind of there, then the movie doesn't really focus on them, then they start dying. It's just like you don't really know much about the characters. And I feel like it would have been more effective and more scary if it was all from the kids' point of view. Their friends are getting killed one by one. They become the police. They're looking for this killer. They're trying to figure out who it is. And all that time, it was this person who they looked up to, the priest, who was the killer. You could do so much with that. I was like, that's the plot line that should be done. These kids hear about these murders. They don't know what's going on. They're trying to figure out who this killer is. And more night sequences. You could have made it just so much more scary. You just would have been way more scary that way for me. Like I said, just if it would have just not shown the dummies and just would have just been more of an implied thing where you just hear about the murders, or more night sequences, or like I said, from the kids' point of view. But yeah, there's that weird dummy priest that falls from the cliff. There's also a really weird scene with this character, probably one of the weirdest characters I've ever seen in a horror film, where this kid gets told to bring her this thing of food, and he goes upstairs and she is naked, just strung out and naked. He brings the food over and she just starts flirting with this little kid. I'm like, dude, this is a little kid, what are you doing? It was just crazy. The weirdest freaking character in the movie, because she's so suspicious and it goes nowhere. So I'm like, why is this character this weird and this suspicious and strange and everything, and nothing happens? Like, nothing comes from this character. It was just like the weirdest thing. So yeah, the cliff. This character is really strange and weird. It's just a movie that, for me, I'd probably say it's my least favorite Lucio Fulci movie. Again, not a horrible film, but I just maybe just not my cup of tea. Maybe I just didn't get into it. It's just not, I guess, my film. It's a movie that I really didn't get into, and I personally wasn't really a big fan of. But it was cool checking it out. And it's not like I'm not a fan of Lucio Fulci. Like I said, Cat in the Brain. Nobody talks about that film. I love that film. And it's not because the 72 film, 1972, Last House on the Left came out in 1972. And I love that movie. So it's not the fact that the movie is aged, or it's like I don't like it because it's Lucio Fulci or Giallo or any of that. No, it's just weird. Like, I could not really get into the movie. It was slow. It didn't really have a lot of atmosphere. Didn't really have a lot of nice looking sets. Had a very dry atmosphere, very slow pace, very boring pace. Didn't really have a lead. It just kind of wanders around in the movie. You don't really know who your lead is, so I don't really care about any of these characters because you don't know anything about them. Obvious fake dummies, and just I really didn't see anything too much in this movie. It's just disappointing for me. Not horrible, but not really anything too great for me. I'm gonna give it probably out of respect, I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6. It's a movie that I think is decent, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So I'm gonna give it a 6. So anyways, guys, let me know your guys' thoughts on Don't Torture Duckling in the comments below. Take it easy on me. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was trying to be honest. But I know you hate me. You don't need to type that in the comments, you hate me. I know. I'm the one guy in the world who probably isn't really the, big fan of this movie. But just let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the film. Just take it easy on me, please. Just playing with you guys. But anyways, guys, like I said, let me know your guys' thoughts on this film in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review, and hope you guys have a great night. But anyways, guys, it's going to be it for tonight's review. And, yeah, The Explorer 4 is out. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!